Ramping up your business? The time is near. You've given it heart, now get it in gear. It's Passage to Profit with Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart.
I want to introduce Ariel Schur with ABS Staffing Solutions. Her staffing solutions are a little different than the norm. So, Ariel, please tell us all about your company.
Sure. Well, thank you both for having me. So my company, I started almost 13 years ago, which is very surreal. I came into the staffing industry in a unconventional way. It wasn't really ever on my radar. I started off doing counseling for Fortune 500 companies, and I then started doing individual counseling and went to another recruiting firm looking to kind of supplement my private practice. At the time, this was now over 20 years ago. I feel very old. I was offered a job on the spot. I decided, why not? I had a very good friend from high school who at the time was also a recruiter, and I called her and she was like, go for it. You have nothing to lose. You like talking to people, you're friendly. You can use a lot of your current skills, because I was doing a lot of assessments, and that's basically, when you interview someone. And I had never really done hard sales, because at this company I was having to do both sides of finding clients and finding candidates. It was very scary and very challenging, but I quickly fell in love with it. And I worked for someone else for 9 years, and there were a lot of things that would frustrate me. And I never really thought about starting my own thing. I would go on interviews to go work for someone else. And every time I would think about it, I was like, well, if I'm going to leave and have to start over in essence, shouldn't I just do it for myself? And I didn't really candidly have any idea what that entailed. One day decided and realized that everyone that was working under me for my current boss kept quitting because he was very challenging, and just there were so many things that were frustrating, and I knew that I wanted to do differently. And when I would also go on other interviews, no one really was taking the approach that I wanted to take, and I just decided to go for it.
So what do you think makes for a good recruiter?
Well, there's so many aspects to it, and I think that, again, with my company, I really value and like to get to know both my clients and candidates in a very personalized, individual way. And I think it's relationships and communication, and having, like any relationship, being open and honest and forthright, and making that known and setting those expectations from the onset is extremely important.
I see here, too, that you offer a suite of packages that on different things, and you offer one that covers everything. But one of the packages you offer is a LinkedIn networking package where you help people with their LinkedIn profile, their photo, their reviews, summaries, everything. If anybody doesn't have a super great LinkedIn, then you're really at a disadvantage, especially if you're looking for a job. I think this is so important because also, as I said, I use AI constantly. When I look people up, when it's describing people, it pulls from their website and it pulls from LinkedIn. I can't tell you how much data the AI pulls from LinkedIn. So if nothing else, if I were looking for a job, I would hire you for that. I mean,
yeah,
it's just one of the
because
many.
that is a recent kind of adding component that I decided was necessary, because I often have so many people refer their friends that are looking for work. And candidly, I don't need to, there's a lot of people looking for work, right? So, I was appreciative, but I always felt bad that I really, it wasn't the best use of my time. And like you said, time is money. And then it dawned on me, but I love helping people. And I realized that I could still help them. I can't guarantee a job, but there's so many elements to it that I knew from my experience, which I thought everyone knew, and I would work with people and they would look at me so surprised, and it dawned on me there's so many different aspects to the job process that we could help people with and could be a value add, and it's fun, and I love helping them and watching that transformation.
How do you see the job market now evolving over the next 6 months to a year?
So, unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. Recently the news is not overly optimistic. I try to always come from a positive place because I think, that energy you put out, has an impact. And, again, who knows? It could go any which way. I focus on the things that are within my control. So right now, I'm fortunate. The summer was slow and it always kind of tends to be slow, but right now is busy. And so I just kind of stay in the moment and try to capitalize on that. I mean, there's definitely a difference in terms of, both candidates and companies being concerned about, financial security and the talk of recession. And even JP Morgan yesterday, made this big announcement, and the, unemployment rates are even higher than people thought. But I think you can't get caught up in that negative headspace because it won't benefit anyone. So, focus on the things you can control and do things that empower you.
What's your demographic? Who's your largest demographic?
Well, what I love about what I do now, as opposed to when I was working with someone else, was I had a really one sector that I had to focus on. And I didn't want to pigeonhole myself when I started my company. And I kind of have an approach where, like a puzzle, so whether it's 30 pieces or 300 pieces, if I know what the outside puzzle looks like, in this case is a job description, I'm able to find that person. And so there's really a wide variance. I mean, right now we have a lot of PR, marketing, some fashion jobs, finance, legal, I mean, a full gamut.
Are you prepping these people? So when they come to you, are you prepping them for interviews?
So really what happens more, the prepping is more for people if they're coming to me wanting our services, like we just discussed. But what is more typical is a client will come, which is a company wanting to hire someone. And so once we have that job description and an understanding as in-depth as possible, and again, I try to get as much information. I like going there. I want to see, feel, understand the culture, understand like what people have worked, what haven't, why is this job open, how can we learn from their past experiences to help find the best suited individual. And so once I have extracted all of that information, then I take that to first go through our database and begin to kind of put in keywords and attributes that they have communicated that they're looking for. And once I find a candidate that's interested, we'll share the resume. I don't disclose initially who the client is. Once we get a confirmation that they want to interview them, then I will prep the candidate because I want to empower them. I want them to feel confident and know that they can do this. And I want to give them the tools to be successful in that realm.
We're with Ariel Schur, who is the founder of ABS Staffing Solutions. What are some of the things that you do to prepare a candidate for an interview?
A lot of times nowadays, the first round tends to be Zoom, right? Because it's more efficient for everyone. So we'll do a practice Zoom, everything from making sure the lighting is good to what they're going to wear, their hair. We do everything because all of that does matter. And again, we want them to feel good because that comes across. And confidence is such a big piece of life in general. And building up their confidence, making them understand, sometimes the whole interview process can feel very daunting and stressful. And I often kind of frame it like it's a first date, right? So you want to present your best foot forward. You want to look your best, feel your best, and you want the guy or girl to ask you out again. Even if you don't want to go out with them, you still want to have that option, right?
I like that.
And
Absolutely.
it tends to be relatable for everyone because most people, by the time they're looking for a job, have had at least one date. And that kind of puts it in a different framework for people that is relatable. And they're like, oh, yeah. And they're like, yeah, I want to get that second date. So
I love the way you're framing this. It's very
that's
sexy.
really...
Is there one tip you can give? Like, that was a great tip for people. Is there another tip you can give people that could increase their chances of getting the job during the interview? Is there something they should or shouldn't do?
I mean, again, I think confidence is such a big piece. And, you know, even if you're nervous, you know, fake it till you make it. And, you know, being prepared, right? And doing your due diligence and your research on who's going to be interviewing you and really doing a deep dive, I think comes through when you have done your homework. That really shows that, you know, you're taking this seriously and you want this job and you've gone that extra mile.
Yeah, and that you've put some thought and consideration into whether this is going to be a good match for you. And you're not just showing up for a paycheck. I actually interviewed somebody yesterday for an attorney position, and he knew more about Gerhardt law than I did. Yeah, he studied everything, you know, and what's that?
I said we place attorneys as well if you need any help.
Okay,
Thanks. He was somebody who really didn't need to do that. I mean, there are some people, I mean, I could see recommending that for everybody, but he had like great credentials. He had a nice book of business, and I would have liked him anyway. But the fact that he went and through all of this trouble, you know, really made me say, hey, this could be a great fit.
Yeah, it stands out and it's important.
How are people finding you?
So we're online, obviously. My website is ABS Staffing Solutions. And I believe we come up, you know, pretty because it's an A. We're easy to find. And I mean, we're on social media, but it's mostly through our website that people.
I love this.
Yeah. So we're talking to Ariel Schur with ABS Staffing Solutions. And she's really got the pulse of the market, and she helps people find jobs. And she's really got some, I think, some packages here, some methods that she uses that are more effective than some of the other staffing places that we've worked with.
Yeah, I've been actually reading on LinkedIn a lot about people who are looking for jobs, and there are a lot of posts out there about how frustrated they are.
Yeah.
And some of the practices that employers undertake that are kind of discouraging to the applicants. From the employer standpoint, if you're getting resumes, are there particular things you think that the employer should be doing in order to kind of help the process?
Well, they should use us because we help streamline the process on both ends, right? So if you put an ad up online, invariably you're going to be inundated with resumes, and a lot of times they're not even relevant. And so just to sift through that takes way too much time. And so by coming to someone like us, you know, we have already a list of and a database of candidates that we can automatically go through and make the whole process so much easier, faster. We coordinate the interviews, we send resumes, but we don't just send the resume, we give additional information and insight, because anybody that we are proposing, we have, for one resume, we've probably talked to 20 people, right? And we have selected the ones that we're sharing because we know that they match the criteria. Now, are there other nuances? Is there personality things that can come into play? Definitely. And the more we know our clients, the easier we can also filter for that. And, you know, we have some clients where I know right away that this person is the one. Now, some clients trust me, and I'll send one and I'll be like, this is it. And they're like, you're right, done. Others need to see at least 3 or 4, right? And kind of like dating. Like sometimes some people trust their instincts and know. Sometimes people are like, it was my first date. I need to at least like see 2 or 3 other women before I like make that commitment. And I respect, you know, I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to help facilitate. So whatever works and whatever feels comfortable. But I often have a gut instinct and know.
So have you ever worked with an entrepreneur to hire somebody? Because I mean, you know, eventually entrepreneurs get to the point where they need, you know, team members. But there's, you know, there's also the recruiter fee, right? And so, you know, on the one hand, it's very attractive that you could help them find the right person. But on the other hand, they're also trying to pay for their marketing and their pay-per-click and all this other stuff. Well, what would you have to say about that situation?
Well, I think, you know, if you are looking to hire someone, there's an investment. So whether it's using us or posting an ad or whatever it is, there is a cost affiliated. And you get what you pay for, right? So, you know, yes, it might initially feel like a lot. And we work with individuals. Like I understand and I empathize when someone's starting off. Like I want to help them. I want that to be recurring business and I want them to feel good about it. And, that's why everything I do is very personal, individual. It's not, one size fits all. It's about understanding who my client is, what they need, how I can best help them. And yeah, it's an expense, but so are most things in business, right? So you have to evaluate it. And I think ours is a worthwhile expense.
I have to say, I like you. So are you the person doing the interviewing? Is it always you or do you have a
No, I have other people, but I've trained all of them. And honestly, now they surpass me in terms of sometimes I'll find candidates. I'm like, where'd you find that? It's like amazing. Like truly, I'm so impressed and proud of my staff. And we all work remote now, but we have team meetings and we're really, I have such respect and feel very grateful for everyone that works for me.
You must be very good at what you do because good help is very, very difficult to find. You know that.
It is.
Yeah.
How can they find you again? What's your website?
So both anyone who needs to hire someone or anyone looking for a job who wants our help. But really, again, it's people that need to hire is really how we can generate the most business. And it's absstaffingsolutions.com.
Excellent. Thank you.